What's cracking, everyone? Let's start with me on a journey through the wild world of the green transforming robot toy line known as Metal Cardbot. And what better place to start than where the line first began, the legendary Star Guardian, Blue Cop. We begin our look at Blue Cop in his vehicle mode, a Lamborghini-inspired, very swish-looking green police car. The car goes for a very toyetic, kid-first oriented aesthetic, with its bright colors, rounded edges, and an overall squished-down design. Being mostly geared towards very young children doesn't mean though that they cheaped out in terms of detailing. Blue Cop is sporting some gorgeously painted silver on the rims, as well as a very decent amount of gold paint along the car's body. What makes me very happy to see are all the different bits of clear plastic used for the headlines and the police siren on top. Even the rear headlights have been invited to that particular party. The big point of contention with this version of Blue Cop though are the eyes on the windshields. Going for a more rounded look opposed to the more angular shape seen in the TV show, mostly a result of the toys being designed first and the show staff tweaking them during the course of production. In robot mode, Blue Cop continues the more toyetic look they started with in vehicle mode, with their big boots, broad shoulders, and rather undersized head when compared to the rest of the body. Blue Cop does wear a pretty sizable chunk of kibble on the back that does their darndest to look as cohesive and elegant as possible. Especially the rear end of the car's roof splitting in two and forming a kind of swallow's tail lends Blue Cop a certain elegance and heroic vibe. While overall being rather plain in terms of details, the shins do sport some very old school looking detailing. There's also still a pretty good amount of gold paint to break up the color in key parts. Most impressive though is how much they packed into Blue Cop's head design. For something so small, there are a lot of details present. Down to the little bullet symbol on his ear and very tiny eyeballs hiding behind the visor. Pretty much the only thing missing is the Star Guardian symbol on the headrest.
So in terms of posability, Blue Cop has pretty much all the basics, not much more. He has a ball jointed neck that can move pretty wide side to side. Even has some tilt going on like this. Can look up, couldn't look down. He has hinged shoulder joints. He has a hinge right on top and then another hinge down here, which is basically just a transformation joint. Also be careful, the head joint, the ball is pretty big, so the head likes to pop off from time to time. He has pretty much 360 shoulder rotation like this, but gets hindered by the backpack a little bit. Joints are nice and clicky, something you will see pretty often in Metal Cardboard toys. He has a bicep swivel, which is pretty rare, especially for the earlier Metal Cardboard toys, and he's still the only Blue Cop toy who has a bicep rotation. Then you've got a nice elbow joint, nothing in the wrists, no waist. You got hips, you can get those hip skirts out of the way, they go pretty far, they go back pretty far like this, and they go out pretty far to the side, so he can do the full splits like this. That's something you value in your action figures. No hip rotation. He has two knees, one up here and then the transformation joint, and the knee he has right there doesn't go back very far. That's pretty much all it does. But the transformation joint gives him a really deep knee bend. So since the upper joint goes back not that far and is pretty hard to move, you will probably just use this one as your main knee joint. And then the foot does move this because of transformation, and no ankle tilts because the way his feet are designed.
Looking at Blue Cop's accessories, the figure includes a little black revolver that neatly stores on the inside of their legs. It fits neatly into either hand and sits pretty solid there. While never being used in the show, it is still a welcome addition that definitely enhances the toy's play pattern. The big ticket item though is the one thing that gives the metal cardboards their name, the metal card. Every card in the line features a portrait of the corresponding robot as well as their code name, also revealing that I've been reviewing the mainline Chinese release the entire time. Anyway, removing the metal card from the attached metal weapon allows us to have a more detailed look at the back of the card that features a very sexy chromed Star Guardian symbol. Converting the rest of the card is done in a matter of seconds and is securely equipped to Blue Cop's right forearm to give them their signature weapon, the Justice Gauntlet. The first season weapon cards were all cast in a translucent plastic that have been decked out with enough gold and silver paint to make them quite attractive to look at. Given the nature of the Justice Gauntlet's enormous size, it does negate a lot of the movement in Blue Cop's elbow while still allowing for some cool poses. But to be fair, it's a giant Hulk fist on a transforming alien robot. It's not hard to make that look badass. So in conclusion, what is there to say about Blue Cop? The figure is obviously not geared towards an adult collector mindset and definitely prioritizes its toyetic nature over everything else. But this is exactly why for me the figure succeeds. It feels like a figure of a bygone era, where solidity and gimmicks ruled supreme and aspects like slavish, show accuracy and posability were not much of a requirement. That doesn't mean though that Blue Cop is lacking in both of those departments. The figure is still a very faithful recreation of the show character, as long as you can get past the more toyetic nature of the design. And while not being super posable, the figure has enough joints to get the job done if that is what you're looking for. It just feels so refreshing as a Western toy collector who has been fed nothing but modern Transformers toys the past decade in terms of transforming robot toys, to hold something in hand that isn't made for an adult fan base. Something that still tries to be a fun, quality toy that children want to play with. Blue Cop is far from being the most sophisticated figure in the metal cardboard lineup, but damn, does it feel great to play with.